Hello, it's Lisa Hiles here, and I'm here to talk to you about my syllabus for the B1 course starting on at the beginning of October. Thank you for joining me. So it's a B1 level, which is an intermediate level, and we'll be looking at lessons that go from an IELTS score of about 4 and over the course of the 9 months up to a 5.5. So thank you for tuning in, taking the time to be with me at the moment, and I'm just going to talk you through my syllabus so you can see how the lessons will work. Okay, let's go to my first slide. Okay, and I've divided my slides into 4, and that's each week. So as you know, there's going to be 2 lessons per week, each of about 40 minutes, and they'll go out live and you'll be able to see them in their recorded form as well. So how will it work? Well, as you can see here from my syllabus, which is for B1 level learners, as I said, the first week, the first section, of the course, lessons 1, 2, 3 and 4, will look at vocabulary and grammar connected to the people in your life and talking about your life. So as you can see in the 3 columns, I've got when the lesson is due to go out, the lesson number is in column 2, and the focus of the lesson. So that will be whether the lesson is vocabulary, like lesson 1, vocabulary, the people in your life, or grammar, as in lesson 2, which is the present simple and the present continuous, and a review of how they are used differently and how their meaning is different. We'll also look at talking about holidays, describing different holidays and how often you do things, and the vocabulary of food. So in the first 4 lessons, which will be 2 weeks, there'll be a real review of everything that you can think of to talk about your life at the moment, what you do on a daily basis and what you are doing at the moment. And you can see, so we've got column 1 is the lesson number, then the context, so vocabulary or grammar, then the IELTS score, so it's B1, but that can go from an IELTS 4 to a 5, and at the beginning of the course it's just an IELTS 4.0 here. And the final column gives you an overview of what will happen in the lesson. So in a vocabulary lesson, we'll be looking at nouns for family members and friends and other people, but there'll also be, obviously a review of grammar in there as well, as happens at intermediate level. So in the first couple of weeks is a real mixture of present simple, present continuous, talking about you, your job, your family, what you do in your free time, and basically your culture. As you can see, lesson 5 is a review, and we will do this every 5th lesson. So after roughly every 2.5 hours, there will be a review, which is called study, practice and remember. And I'll mix up tasks and I'll mix up vocabulary to see what you can remember, but it will be pretty personalised. What do I mean by personalised? Well, I mean personal to you. Why is that important? Why is it important that we always think about vocabulary from our point of view, or grammar from how we would use it to make things true for us? Quite simply, it makes it more memorable. When we're talking about ourselves, we remember things more. Okay, so lessons 1 to 4, your life now and what you're doing, and then moving on to the second slide. Here we can see that we've shifted slightly. So we're talking about life events, what you do and what you have done. So there'll be vocabulary for describing life events. We'll be looking at mobile phones and how we use them. Be very practical. We'll be looking at numbers, which are quite tricky in English, and dates and phone numbers and timetables. All of those that are quite tricky in English. And the grammar focus this week will be the present simple, and the present perfect simple. So what I do and what I have done, which is useful for everybody. And there'll be a review at the end of that section too. The third part of the course is, so lessons 11 through to 14 is all about modality, really. It's a focusing on the modal verbs, which are tricky for language learners to English, modals for permission and obligation, must have, mustn't and don't have to, can and can't, and then the same modals, must, may, might, could and can't, but using them for possibility and probability. So quite a lot of grammar in that section, which I think you'll find is really useful. And if you notice there, also in the IELTS column, we're moving up a level, IELTS 4.5. Then in lesson 13, a little bit of relax, vocabulary for describing people and phrases for describing personal qualities, and a chance to talk about people that you really admire. And we'll be finishing that section with another modal lessons and giving advice for must, should, shouldn't, could, wouldn't, okay? And there'll be lots of review when we do our review session to make sure you are pretty clear on your modals. Okay, lessons 16 through to 20 will be, in terms of grammar, on the conditionals, the first and the second conditional. The context for the first conditional will be through friendship, qualities that make a good friend, and talking about friendships, past and present. And then when we talk about the second conditional, we'll also be looking at vocabulary for education. And that will be quite a cultural lesson, looking at our institutions, our qualifications and different learning experiences, and comparing the UK with your own experience. And lesson 20 will be a review of that section. Okay. So that's just a real brief overview of my course. It's quite challenging on the B1 level. So we'll be moving from the present simple through the tenses to the present perfect, through to the conditionals, and a focus on modality, which is always challenging and always good fun and very useful. And in terms of vocabulary, we'll be looking at talking about us, our lives, people around us, our habits, our free time, our working life, friendship, education, things we've done, so life events, which can be leaving school, starting a new job, getting a promotion, buying a house, having children, those kinds of things, okay? I hope that gives you a really good idea of the kind of topics that I'll be doing. So it's very personal. All these things are things that I choose topics from what I use in my own language, and I'm talking, and what I want to use in a foreign language, because I still very much enjoy speaking Italian when I go abroad. So I hope you find these lessons useful. Thank you very much for taking the time to listen to my description of my syllabus, which is B1, and I look forward to teaching you soon. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.